Good evening and welcome. We're learning Zat Hashem, Sipur Maisis, Mais Mavedas Basmelech, the Lost Princess. We're going to, Bezat Hashem, quickly go through a synopsis of this particular Maisa, and we'll get to Bezat Hashem, what this is negea to the union of Yom Kippur. It's Hashem, a couple of days. Hashem will talk about it as well. Hashem Yazo, connecting myself, to all of you, Bezat Hashem Tefillah, and it's also Kodesh Baruch Hu, Bezat Hashem. Will give us Hat Diburim, like Gachle Esh, Bezat Hashem. Hashem, that the schus of all the tzaddikim, Bezat Hashem, will help subdue the intrinsic heresy and bad and evil that we have, each and every one of us. In the small details, like says who, kind of. And Bezat Hashem will be zecher, to get to a bechina of Eretz Yisrael, which is a bechina where you can go from one madrega to the next and Avodas Hashem. It's especially neigea now before Yom Kippur, because Yom Kippur is where everybody is going up to the Bina. Hashem will talk about it a bit more, but let's just, summarize the Maisa real quick. The Maisa is about the creation of the world. In the source of a moshel, the euphemism, there was a melech, he had 6 sons and a daughter. He loved the daughter the most. That's the Kodesh Baruch Hu that loves the Malchus, the Emunah. That's the reason why he created the world, because there is no way to relate to a Kodesh Baruch Hu except through Emunah. Emunah is the one tool with which a human being who perceives and understands things and accepts things by defining them. This is how you understand something. You put the walls around it. This starts here, okay, and here. Now I understand what it is. This is of das. Das means that you define something. It has borders. Because Baruch Hu, per definition, is without border. He is Ein Sof. He's infinity, and he's true infinity. He's not an infinity that it starts but it never ends. Because Baruch Hu is an infinity that doesn't begin and doesn't end. So there's no way that we can grasp, with a mind that has the operating system, as it were, where we understand things. You get things by understanding them, by seeing them and defining them. So the keli with which that we can relate to Kadosh Baruch Hu is the daughter. That's the Emunah, that's the Malchus. Then one day, the king said to the daughter, "May it not good to take you." This symbolizes this shviras hakelim, the shattering the vessels, the beginning of choice, because there's only time, there's only reason for the creation of the world if there's free choice. Because if there's no free choice, if a person doesn't have the capacity to do the opposite of what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants from him, then no matter how elaborate the creation is going to be, it's still HaKadosh Baruch Hu serving himself by himself. There has to be something, that the not good has a grasp on this. And therefore, you can have a choice. As the good take it, and then she disappeared. The Shein el Malchus, the viceroy, saw that the Melech was such tsar that the Malchus is gone. And he asked the Melech that he should give him uh, um, a servant and a horse and expenses. And he's going to look for the princess. So we went through a whole Maisa, how he searches for her in the desert, in the forest, and so forth and so on. At the end, he finds a way from the side, unusual. It's the way the people, nobody goes there. And he comes to a castle. The castle is something that we will meet later on as well. And he goes into the castle. The army is outside the castle. Everything is beautiful. Everything is orderly. He goes inside, and as he goes inside, he sees a banquet hall, and the king is sitting there, and there's beautiful things. There's orchestras and museums. You have Chagall, the murals by Chagall, and you have, paintings by I don't know, Vermeer and I don't know, and frescoes and whatever. Everything is beautiful, and you have this gourmet, 3-star Michelin food over there. And he eats a little bit and lands in the corner. Then they're making a big tumult, big to-do. They bring a chair for the queen, and the queen comes and he sees her, and he sees that's the princess. That's the daughter of the king. And then she notices him. Somebody's lying in the corner. She comes to him. She touches him, says, "Do you recognize me?" He says, "Yes, I do. You are the daughter of the king." When a person is looking after the Shekhinah, a person is looking to get the Shekhinah to bring it back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Emunah back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He goes through all the trials and tribulations. The Shekhinah actually comes to him and asks him, "Do you see me? Do you recognize me? Do you know who I am? I mean, do you see me from your reality, from where you are, from where you're coming from? Do you see me in your life?" He says, "Yeah, you're the Shekhinah." And he asks her, "How can I get you out of here?" And the Shekhinah says, "You can't get me out of here unless you find yourself a place and you stay there for a whole year and you yearn for me. The last day, don't eat and don't sleep. Then you can take me out." Does that, stays for the whole year, does it. The last day, he comes through, he sees, when he's on the way back to get her out, he sees a tree with apples. He says the apples are gorgeous. They smell very fragrant, like when the mango is really, really good, it has this perfume, whatever. And he takes it and takes a bite and falls asleep, and then he wakes up, asks the servant, which is the seichel, "Where am I in the world?" So he tells him, "Oh, yeah, from the apple, you fell asleep." And he goes back to the castle, speaks to her. She says, "For one day you lost everything. You could have taken me out." She says, "Okay, I tell you what, you go to again, you go take a whole year and spend there and look for me." It's a whole enough. What's enough a whole year? Because a year is made out of 4 seasons. This corresponds to the 4 elements in the person's being. The wind and the fire and the water and the earth. And Rabbeinu explains in Torah Ches that this is, we are all made of these things, the midas toivus and the midas ras. It's a whole different Indian. So in other words, when you're taking something for a whole year and you are keeping at it, you keep at it for a whole year, it becomes yours because you're getting with all the 4 elements, the Esh, Ruach, Mayim, Afa. The last day, she tells him, the last day you can eat, but don't sleep. And don't drink wine so you don't sleep. But the last day he sees, a river, and he puts, and the river looks, it's red, it smells like wine. It's supposed to be water. And he tells the servants, "It's a funny thing, and it's supposed to be water, and it smells like wine." It just dips the end of his stick in the wine. He tastes it and falls asleep for 7 years. And the 7 years of falling asleep is falling away from Torah altogether. Everything. Seichel tries to wake him up. Nothing doing. Doesn't help. And then he sees a lot of armies come, and after the armies come, this beautiful carriage. The carriage stops, and the daughter of the king, the princess, the lost princess, comes down sits next to him, tries to wake him up, nothing doing. She starts to cry and lament how hard you had to work for me. And after everything else, this is what happened to you and me. We're both lost. And she writes all her limitations with her tears on the kerchief she takes off from her head. And she writes all the complaints and all the cries on it. There's a big secret, this meaning of writing with tears. Chazal said that the tears is the ashgocha of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He says when HaKadosh Baruch Hu, hears what's going on with his children, that he sheds two tears. The Gemara says, La Yama Godel, to the great sea. It's Yama Chochma. And it says the tears are the B'chinas Ashgocha. She leaves him with a sefer. The sefer itself contains the Ashgocha of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the tears of the Shekhinah. And he puts it up to the sun and he sees whatever it is that she says about him. She says, that's it, you won't find me in that place, in the place of the not good. Now you have to look for a mountain of gold and a castle of pearls. And there you will find me. They say at that particular point in time, before you went into the castle, the place of not good, he left the horse behind. The horse represents the body. Giving away the Hanos Aguf is not interested. That's not what I'm about. Now, when he is going to look for a mountain of gold and a castle of pearls, he leaves the servant behind. The servant represents the earthly seichel. The earthly seichel is that desire for achievement in this world. I need to achieve something. I have to be somebody. It's not enough that I will look for the Shekhinah and work for the Shekhinah and do whatever is. Get the Shekhinah back to Kodesh Baruch Hu, but listen, it doesn't necessarily have to be something bad. Nobody is saying that there has to be something like, I don't know, notorious mafia boss. I'm not saying. I'm not even saying being a politician. I'm not even saying being, Jeff Bezos or something like this, something nuts like that. But each one, just I'm a member of my kahila. I'm here, and I wouldn't like people to, of course, to deride me, and to put me down. I don't want that. That's as a business. But this is my place. I'm not sitting by Mizrach. That's a rabbi. This is where he sits there. But I'm not all the way back, And if I'm all the way back is because I want to show everybody that I'm not sitting by the Mizrach. I'm not part of your game. Check me out. I'm really special. I'm a nothing. It's like you know the jokes about that. When you go to look for the Shekhinah, you have to leave this behind. You have to look for the Shekhinah alone. This is especially Negeya now that we are just before Yom Kippur. So let's just finish quickly, run over the mice until the end, and then we can talk about this. He goes, search for a long time in the Midbar, in the desert again, because he says in the place of people, there wouldn't be a mountain of gold and a castle of pearls. It means in the reality of people, where you have a status, it can be monetary status, a bit coveted. It can even be a sipuk, a satisfaction that, let me enjoy what I'm doing at least. That's also a place of people. Totally. If you're looking for a mountain of gold, A mountain of gold and a castle of pearl is the ultimate, that what we say, ultimate tshuva, where we say that the zdoinos nasas kazachis, that the averes that a person did, bechavona lo aleinu, it becomes a schos. If the tshuva me'ahava, tshuva me'yira, the zdoinos become shgogas. He goes in the desert and he sees a huge person. He says, in the yeshuv, you don't find a person that big. And he's carrying on his shoulder, carrying a tree. And it's such a huge tree that in civilization, you don't find such a tree. And that person is the master of all the animals. That master, that person, that huge giant represents the Gdol HaTorah. Gdol HaTorah that learned the Pashta Torah. He's in charge of the animals. It's a Pashta Torah. You know, with the Gemara, with the Poiskim, that's the tree. You know, it's a das. You know, is Shem Havaya Adnei together is 91. That's Gematria of Ilan, you know, the big tree. And he asks him, who are you? The giant asks the viceroy, who are you? He says, I'm a person. In other words, he's able to say that he is a person. The only way Rabbeinu says in Torah Vav that deals about tshuva, deals with tshuva and deals with Elul, Mimelo, Shoshana, and Kippur. The only time that you can call yourself Adam is when you have already mastered the proficiency of what do you do when you're on top of the world and what do you do when you're down and out and just a pathetic nothing. You know that when you are up, you haven't even started. And you know that when you're down, Kadosh Baruch Hu is right there with you. Nobody can do anything to you. Then you can call Adam. So this giant says, Adam, you? I've never seen an Adam here. Somebody was an Adam in the desert. In the desert means that you are in your readers, that you're going through your difficulties and you're Pchinas Adam. I've never seen. He says, yeah. So why are you here? So he tells him, I'm looking for a mine of gold in a pearl of castle. This is the ultimate tshuva. This is Yom Kippur. Because Yom Kippur is the union of Mim Zos Oila. In Yom Kippur, we get to the Sphira Sabina. The Malchus goes up together with the Bina. And it says, the Zohar says, Kippurim. Kippurim means that two of them. Kippur is one, Kippurim is two. It means that the Malchus and the Bina, they go together. They elevate together. And he says, so the giant tells him, this is baloney. You know, somebody's been fooling you. There's no such thing. You can't get there if you are Godel B'Torah and you can be tested in the entire Shas and the Book of Poiskim, you know, and then you're tested. No, something can be there, but you want to get to tshuva. Why? Because you can hold yourself when you're down. With this, you want tshuva. This, you want amount. There's no such thing. It's not such reality. So he starts to cry. That cry, Mizat Hashem will get to again, because this is the main secret of Yom Kippur. He says, okay, listen, you're being such an action. I'll send you, I have another brother in another desert. He's in charge of all the birds. You know, he'll ask them, maybe they know about this. And he goes there and he finds them, tells them the same thing, tells them all the shtus. No such thing. Person who's in charge of the birds, you know, that's the Bala Musar. You know, those that give teichochet to other people, and admonish other people. Remember who you are. Remember who you are. Until when? Until when? And this person comes and says, who are you? So I'm a person. What are you looking for? I'm looking for the ultimate transformation of turning my Averis into Schuyas. He says, it's a joke. People laughed at you. People said it was pulling your leg. You'd have been yanking your chin. I mean, what are you talking about? There's no such thing. This is baloney. He says, no, I know there is. So he says, okay, listen, there's another desert, my brother who is in charge of all the winds and all the spirits. They definitely know everything because they see everything. He goes, the giant tells him, there's no such thing. And he calls all the winds, and all the winds says, they've never seen such a thing. So he says, you see, told you, it's the whole thing. Somebody has been fooling you. But he holds in his hand, the kerchief upon which the Shekhinah wrote with her tears. There's a Sifra Tzadikim, that in there is Ashgochas HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is that somebody is on the spirits. This is Mara Kabbalah. There's a people who can do kavanas, can daven with kavanas, that can reach all the levels. They can tell you all kavanas are Arizal. As a Arizal, if you learn, first of all, you have to finish correct the Bechinas Nefesh, and then in all the Bechinas, and then you can get to all the Bechinas Ruach, and after you finish correcting your Ruach, you go to the Bechinas Neshama. After you finish Neshama, you have to go Bechinas Das. And it all depends if the Neshamas that are the first time in the world, brand new Neshamas, they can go all the way from beginning to end and finish the whole thing in one Gilgul. But if you're already Megugan, we are all Gilgulim, of course, then you can't correct it all in one Gilgul. You have to correct one thing, and then you have to die, and then if you come again, and so forth. So what are you looking for? A mountain of gold and a pearl of castle? I mean, who are you kidding? He says, no, I know there is. And while they're going there, another wind comes, a Ruach Sa'ara, a storm wind. That's a storm wind that initially was in charge of wrecking the world. That's the breaking of the world. That's the Yetzirah. That's the Dora Mabel. All the Yetzirah came from there. And he says, where were you until now? So he said, I was busy. I was carrying a princess to a mountain, a golden mountain, and a pearl of castle. And then he was very happy. So now the Chacham told him, listen, now you're going there. You had such gears, you worked so hard, So he asked the spirit, what is expensive over there, that place, this mountain of gold, pearl of castle? Because everything's expensive over there. So here I'm going to give you a pocket. And when you put your hand in this pocket, you can find money. You'll never lack money. Obviously, that pocket needs to be taken. And the storm wind carries him to that city, and the whole thing, how the armies around there, he goes in there and rents a place, Snagea to Yaakov Avinu. And Rabbeinu finishes the story by saying, ultimately, he got her out, but he doesn't say, did not explain how he actually got her out, because this is a private journey for every single person. Yom Kippur is the culmination of a process that started in Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is the time where the world was born, the year was born, your new reality was born. As we spoke about it before, every single person comes in a single file, like sheep, because the Kodesh Baruch Hu fixes for every single person a year that's naigea to all the deeds of that person. And this is like, a tikkun, as we said, like a Waze, the Waze you find out, you put in an address and tells you, okay, the next circle, you turn left. And you decide you don't want to turn left. You continue on. So, that it goes like, it says, recalculating the route and shows you a different where to go. It still leads you to the same place, but now you have to go a different route. Rosh Hashanah, your routes are being calculated according to what you brought, with you from the previous year, what you have to go through. The entire kavanah of everything is to make a pchinas olam habo kepchinas olam hazeh. Like the way the world was before it was created, and the way it is after created, everything should be one. 10 days later, the 10 Sefirot, we had just an idea. In Rosh Hashanah, this is a germ. The seed of reality of your new year is being created. Take 10 days, the 10 Sefirot, in order for you to be a full-fledged germ. A seed. You're an idea in potential, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. Now you are ready to basically create the world as you're going into the sukkah. The sukkah is the womb. Yom Kippur, everybody's just white. The 5 bechinas, the 5 tanesim. And that's the time when Kohen Gadol goes to Kodesh HaKodeshim. Because we all know that all the dinim, all the verdicts, all the judgments can be sweetened in the bina, in the seichel. You see, for instance, that you can't finish the month. You don't have enough money. You're getting into debt. Things are not becoming any better. How do you solve that problem? You go to somebody who has a das or has a bina, and you're saying, this is all I have. He says, okay, you know something? Once you, for a whole month, just collect all the receipts from everything that you buy. Then we'll take a look and see what is your spending pattern. And then we sit together and then we see how much you earn, how much is this. And it says, okay, you did make up your mind what it is that you want, you're spending more than you're getting in. Make a decision. What are you taking with you? What do you pair off and what are you holding on? The problem found a solution by the seichel. Same thing, people, the problems from bias, you go to somebody who really knows what he's doing, he understands, he says, that's what it means that the hamtaka, the sweetening of all the judgments, is in the machshava, in the das, in the olam habina. This with everything, this is a seichel, it's called a seichel hakol, that's the total seichel. This is represented by Kodesh HaKodeshim. Because as you know, we have 3 system structures, as it were. It is the Olam, Shana, and Nefesh. It's the spatial structure system. It is the spiritual Nefesh structure system, and you have the time structure system. Olam, Shana, Nefesh. In order to sweeten everything, to come to Sechel HaKolel, you have to come first between, Me'ala Moko Me'alazman, everything is white, everything is Rachavi. It's only when in the world of definitions, this is where judgments are, this dinim are, where definitions are. So in order to sweeten everything, there's a Kohen Gadol who is Mu'at Mechilas Semeru, he contains all the people of generation. He goes on Yom Kippur, which is a day that contains all the days of the year. He goes into Kodesh HaKodeshim, he goes to the Holy of Holies. That's a place where the world was established. This is where the world begins. So you have Olam Shana Nefesh, everything where everything becomes, just before it becomes Ein Sof, where everything begins. When everything begins, this is when the all the dinim are ameliorated and everything is sweetened. That brings us to us as we come to Yom Kippur. Comes a question, we just said a story where you go to Viceroy, goes through tremendous problems, tremendous disappointments, tremendous ups and downs, and is being put down, is being pushed away, whatever it is, but he never gives up. Is being told by spiritual giants, Torah giants, Musar giants, Kabbalah giants, that he's kidding himself. You're going to come to Yom Kippur. They say that somebody came to Reb Nosson and told him that Reb Lev Yitzchak of Berditchev, this Yom Kippur, all year, he said that Yom Kippur is there's such a fear in the air, in the atmosphere, in basic reality. He says that even the fish in the sea are quaking with fear. So Reb Nosson said, so you can understand how much you have to shake, to quake in fear when you're not quaking from fear. How scared you have to be if you don't feel scared at all. I hate to tell you, but I don't want to badmouth myself, but yeah, of course, in Kippur, whatever. But what am I supposed to do? I don't have Torah to bring. I don't have Musa to bring. I definitely don't have any Kabbalah to bring. I don't have any tzidkus to bring. I have a lot of different things that there's nothing to write home about, nothing to be proud of. How am I going to come to Yom Kippur? The answer is in the trials and tribulations of the Viceroy when he goes through everything. You come to Yom Kippur, and what you do is you cry out. Yeah, and what do you achieve by that? What do you achieve by crying out in Yom Kippur? I mean, you don't feel anything, do you? I mean, right after Yom Kippur, you're going to find out what the Yankees did or the Mets did or whatever, I don't know. What are you going to do? You're going to go back to exactly to where you do, the way you were. The answer is, when you're talking about a mountain of gold and a pearl of gems, of pearl, even one gem, I don't know if you've ever heard of colored diamonds. Have you ever heard of colored diamonds? And I'm not talking about diamonds that were artificially colored. I'm talking about diamonds that are actually red or green or blue. When you have a diamond, let's say white diamond, very pure, whatever it is, 1 carat, I don't know, 2 carats, whatever it is, can cost thousands of dollars. The same size diamond of a colored diamond, a natural colored diamond, is hundreds of thousands of dollars per carat. When you are bringing a single point of tshuva on a single nakuda, that is already a gem of value that is inestimable. This is when you're coming to Yom Kippur. Yeah, but I don't feel anything. Yeah, but you're crying. What you're achieving with the crying is 2 things. First of all, as Rabbeinu says in Torah Hey, when you are crying, when you're davening with all your koyach, that sound reverberates in the circumference of your mind, of your brain. It basically rattles your entire being. It's like a thunder. It is a thunder. You know how if you don't expect it and suddenly there's a thunder, and everybody goes like that? Why? What do you consider? What are you shaking? It's because the earth moves. Everything shakes. When you're davening, just put all your koyach into the words of the tefillah. It shakes your entire being. You know what? It reverberates, and suddenly your heart starts to feel the words that you're saying in your mouth. Otherwise, you're just holding, you're saying the words, very nice, whatever. It's a great thing. You're in shul, Baruch Hashem. That's not people who are not in the shul. But if you're Zoiche and Yom Kippur and saying the koilis, you're davening bekoyach, just take a machzer and daven bekoyach. Put all your force, all your koyach into the words of the tefillah. You do feel, you don't feel, you cry, you don't forget about that. Just pump in the koyach. If you do it strong enough, it will reverberate. It'll become it will shine into you. It will straighten out your heart. You'll start feeling. But there's an even higher secret than that. The highest secret is that the lights that the Shechina collects, the sustenance that the Shechina collects on Yom Kippur, are the sounds that Am Yisrael make during the davening for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. When it has an amazing Torah that he says that when you are singing the tefillah, when they're singing the tefillah, you are actually putting on the Shechina garments of many colors. And this is, when the king sees the queen, when V'tilbash Esther Malchus, that she's wearing, the garments of many colors, the Chamas HaMelech Shachacham, and the anger of the king has subsided. Merely by bringing who you are to Yom Kippur. Merely by asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you know what I feel and what I don't feel. Do me a favor. Help me daven. Help me do tshuva. That's the whole argument between Kadosh Baruch Hu and Am Yisrael. When he says, Shuva Aleinu v'Shuva Aleichem, Kadosh Baruch Hu says, he says, come to me, and we says, no, you come to us, he brings us to you. The thing is that Kadosh Baruch Hu is asking us to ask him to bring us to him. The Chana to Yom Kippur is when you ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please be mezakim me to ask you to bring me to you. Even this I can't do. Because those gedolim, those who quote unquote know better, their job, these are the malachim that fell down during Dora Palaga, before Dora Mabel, the Bnei Elokim. What do you bring to Yom Kippur? Just forget about it. The whole thing. Just come to shul. Bring with you a shtickle, a box with shmek tabak. Speak with everybody while you're holding past the tabak around, whatever it is, and you just wait around. In shul Baruch Hashem. You're fasting. You're together with everybody. But what are you doing here? I don't know. Yom Kippur. We're talking about Yom Kippur. Ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to ask him to bring you to him. That's your Yom Kippur. Ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu not to give up on yourself. just the way you are, exactly the way you are, not an iota different. Yeah, but I know there's such a thing. There's Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is when the Hashel Zav, which is something that's made of all the Averes that I ever did, becomes gold. And the same castle, there was the castle of the not good, becomes a castle of pearl, of chasadim. All the Averes become mitzvahs. But I'm not Kohen Gadol. I'm not Talmid Chacham. I don't have anything to bring. Yeah. What you can bring is two things. First of all, take the seichel, put it away. You know, you don't know, you're smart, you're not smart, leave it away. Just put it away. You're coming to a Kodesh Baruch Hu with two things. The first thing is, I know there is a mountain of gold and a pearl of castle. There is such a thing that all the Averos will become schuyos, even for a person like me. And I believe bevadai that somebody like me who is pathetic, you love like a Ben Yochid. Okay, so how do I do it? I don't feel that. Okay, you don't have to feel it. It's not about feeling. It's about pumping in the tefillah. Pumping in the tefillah. Word, and another word, and another word. You daven Shmoneh Esrei, another word, and another word, and another word. And the koilos, and you sing together with everybody. You're feeling the Shechina. They said that the Malchus goes above Zer Anpin on Yom Kippur. Goes all the way with the Bino, Mim Zos Oilo, Nishba Kodesh Baruch Hu, Shelo Yikonos B'Yerushalayim Shel Mala Ad She'Yikonos B'Yerushalayim Shel Mata. Mim Zos Oilo. The Malchus goes together with the Bina. Bina is Yerushalayim Shel Mala. That's the Noam Elyon. Yerushalayim Shel Mata is you. Working hard for every single word. He says, yeah, but look at you. It doesn't matter. I know there is a mountain of gold and a pearl of castle. I know. B'ezrat Hashem, Kodesh Baruch Hu will write us and seal each and every one of us and all loved ones, all our loved ones, and Klal Yisrael, every single Jew, wherever he or she is, l'chaim tovim v'l'sholom, b'ezrat Hashem, and it's going to be an unbelievable year. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be incredible. A mountain of gold and a pearl of castle. So it should help us. B'ezrat Hashem. Should call to and I get given